knows how you come across somebody once in a while you shouldn't have messed with. That's me.
I am not an African American.
You're Oreo cookie, white in the inside and black on the outside.
I don't have an afro, I have an Amerifro.
Talking that idiotic stuff you talk about, I will slap you.
Go ahead, make my day.
Black as the ace of spades, but 100% American.
Heard around the world by everybody and their mama. The Jesse Lee Peterson Radio Show.
Good versus evil, folks. Welcome to the second hour of the show, uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Walid Shoebat is with me for now. He's been here several times, a good friend. I appreciate his courage. Walid Shoebat is author, speaker, and former Muslim terrorist. He is the head of the Walid Shoebat Foundation, and his brand new book is called The Case for Islamophobia, Jihad by the Word, America's Final Warning. America's Final Warning. You have been warned. Walid, good morning, sir. Welcome back.
Good morning, Dr. Jesse. How are you?
All is well. Thank you so much. Did you have a good Memorial Day weekend, Walid?
Oh, doing the regular. Running the marathon, fighting the fight.
Yep.
Working hard.
I understand. That's right. I understand. I want to talk to you for a few minutes about Barack Obama's brother, Malik Obama, and you have uncovered proof, meetings, photos, and more that President Barack Obama's half-brother, Malik Obama, is working as an official with a terrorist state. First, tell the folks who is this brother and how is it on his mother's side or brother's side of the family that make him connect to Barack Obama?
Malik Obama is President Obama's half-brother from his father's side.
Okay.
And he is a United States citizen, visited the White House several times, visited President Obama several times, is seen with President Obama several times, have been the best man in the wedding for each other, one of his favorite relatives, including Saeed Obama, his uncle, President Obama's uncle. They're all active. It's not only Malik. It's also Saeed Obama, Musa Ismail Obama, President Obama's grandmother, Mama Sarah Obama. They have two foundations collectively. The Mama Sarah Foundation to supposedly fund for aiding AIDS victims, orphans, widows, and also Malik Obama has a similar foundation called the Barack H. Obama Foundation with similar claims in the English language, yet there is absolutely zero evidence that the monies that is raised, of course, Malik has a 501c3, which he got granted illegally by the IRS. It is in a whole different fiasco and different discussion at this point. And the funds are being raised for Wahhabist causes, including what people do not understand, that Malik Obama, it's been ironclad case made from all major Arabic sources that we included in our research. He is the executive director of the Islamic Da'wah organization. And this was not known until we broke the story. We have photos with major characters. Let's not forget, Sudan is considered a terror state by the State Department.
Right.
So this is really in bed with terrorism.
I saw the photos and the meetings on your website, and it's amazing to me. I had not realized until now that Malik Obama is a U.S. citizen. And if that is true...
U.S. resident.
U.S. resident. And how is he allowed to get away with being an official with a terrorist state? And I mean, I don't hear anything about this in the media or anywhere. Other than you reporting this, I'm not hearing about it.
You're right. It's a shocker to people when they read it. They think it's tabloidal. It's got to be an exaggeration, but it's not. We have reported, with photos from major media in the Arabic world, from Yemen to Saudi Arabia to Egypt, photos, meetings, dates, major articles, headline articles. The West is the last to know. The United States is the last to know what is going on. But, his boss was Omar al-Bashir, who is wanted by the ICC regarding all the killing orgies that they've done in Darfur. So this is major.
Wow. What is the goal of the IDO?
That's a very good question. You watch what goes on in England with, what's his name, Adibalago, Michael Adibalago, who basically sacrificed Lee Rigby, whose blood was pleasing to Allah in front of the whole world. And you ask yourself, where was he recruited? Well, he was recruited in Mombasa, Kenya, where basically Malik Obama resides in Kogelo, and he went to a madrasa. What the Islamic Dawah organization specialty, they have about 40 to 60 stations all over Africa to build madrasas, exactly the type of madrasas that Michael Adibalago went to and got radicalized. And so this is the kind of thing that's going on, the building of madrasas and mosques to recruit for jihad. And in fact, we have also documented Malik Obama's boss, Swar Dahab, who works for Omar al-Bashir, visiting Hamas in Gaza, giving speeches about jihad, how Jerusalem will be returned, the whole blood flow and everything else. And everything that you could hear Osama bin Laden saying, this group is saying. So we're talking about a major problem with terrorism here, not just an association of some sort, but working for. In fact, in addition to that, Malik Obama also got together with the World Assembly of Muslim Youth,
right,
which was known to have harbored terrorism. We have the photos and everything, as well as they partnered with the Muslim World League, one of the contributors to Al-Qaeda. So it is not just one organization, it's several organizations, and it's made known in the Middle East. And the whole idea is to basically Islamize the state of Kenya in Africa, sending recruits. And in fact, last year, we broke the news where Mama Sara is also involved with the funding from Saudi Arabia. And you had Musa Ismail Obama, President Obama's first cousin, telling Al Jazeera how the money goes to recruit students from Kenya to go to the most virulent Wahhabi schools in Saudi Arabia. One of them is Al-Qura University, which has been founded by Muhammad Abdul Wahhab himself, the founder of Wahhabism. So, we're speaking of major circle of raising funding for terrorist causes. And, of course, Colonel Powell declared that really the source of terrorism is the madrasas. So if we're not going to the spigot, here we have Malik Obama, President Obama's brother, being part of the spigot.
That is absolutely amazing. I was looking at your website yesterday, preparing for the show today, and I'm looking at all his brother, his cousin. I saw the interview that you spoke of, and we're going to tell folks how they can see that interview of Barack Obama's cousin. It's apparent what they are all about. But my thing is, Walid, at this point, we have a president in this country who definitely sympathizes and support Islam, and we have a media who has supported Obama, and they are not telling the truth to the American people. I don't know what we are going to do.
My friend, our mission is to jot the truth in history and not worry whether people pick it up, understand it, don't understand it, care, don't care. History cares. History will record the truth.
Yes.
And in the future, history will come out. Like we say in the Middle East, one day the snow melts and all the garbage under will be revealed. There is no excuse, because many will think that, wait a minute, Walid, this is guilt by association. So what? He's his brother. He's a fanatic. But Obama has nothing to do with this. Well, there's two questions to pose here.
Hold those
Number
questions.
one-
Hold those questions. Let me take a break, and then we'll let you give out those questions. 888-7753-773. Walid Shoebat is with me. We're going to tell you in a minute here how to get to his website and his books. I highly recommend that you do it, folks. If you really want to know the truth, what's going on behind the headlines, you got to go to Walid's website. Walid, I want to go back to, you said that history will confirm the truth, and you were giving us two questions that we need to ask.
Right. When it comes to the relationship of President Obama with his brother Malik Obama, number one, the IRS approved a 501c3 for Malik Obama illegally. He hasn't been, he was not registered as a 501c3 for a few years. They activated his status faster than any American in history, which is an impossibility at this point unless there was an order from above. In other words, it is because of the relationship of Malik Obama to President Obama. This links the two. This links the IRS. This links the whole system into collaborating with, state of terror, in this case, Sudan. So it is impossible to refute this. Also, Obama and Malik, President Obama and Malik, have been very closely related. They were best mans in each other's wedding.
Yeah.
In the website, you can see the photos of President Obama with Malik. He came to the inauguration, as well as Mama Sarah came. His grandmother came to the inauguration. You know, President Obama has a brother named George Obama, and
right.
He has abandoned George Obama because George Obama comes from the Christian links of the family. Tieno is the mother of George Obama, lives in the United States in Atlanta, very devout Christian family, and so there is absolutely zero connection between President Obama and his Christian side of the family, but very close connections with President Obama and the Wahhabist side of the family. The reason I say Wahhabist is because the evidence is overwhelming. We have two major researches, about 20 pages each, in which shows the connections between the Muslim family in Kenya, their aspiration to Islamize Kenya, not just with Islam per se, but with Wahhabist Islam from Saudi Arabia, by sending major recruitments. And this was basically aired on Al Jazeera, major network, and also documented in countless articles from the major Saudi media to Egyptian media to media from Yemen, photos, the intents, the plans, everything is pretty well disclosed in the Arabic language. We're the first to basically bring it in English to the American people who barely want to read and barely want to know.
I know. It's amazing. You know, I was thinking it's really interesting how you can just come up with all this evidence. You have the proof. You're not making any of this up. And yet, the people don't really keep up with what's going on. They don't, I don't know, I guess they're afraid. But let me ask, they gave this man, Malik Obama, his nonprofit status, while at the same time, the IRS is attacking the Tea Party and conservative groups around the country.
Absolutely. They're attacking Jewish organizations, Christian organizations, conservative organizations, and giving all the liberal, the Islamists, a heyday when it comes to the IRS. And so the IRS is controlled by the president, of course.
Yeah,
you know, and in fact, President Obama thwarted the Southern Sudanese when they wanted to do stuff about fighting back the Islamists. It was President Obama who stood and said, no, you can't do this. In fact, the embassy, our embassy in Sudan, in Khartoum, was attacked by none other than the same affiliates with Malik Obama and the whole shebang with Omar al-Bashir attacked. So our embassy was attacked by this terror group, and here we are looking the other way while President Obama aids and abets this whole mechanism.
I want to pause for a moment and ask you to give out your website, tell the folks about your foundation and how they can get to it and what we can do to help you.
Well, our foundation is shoebat.com, SHOEBAT.com. As you spell the word shoe, SHOE, and the word bat, BAT, one word, .com. When people can help the persecuted Christians. We have also rescuechristians.org, in which we help persecuted Christians who are about to be killed in Pakistan. We're trying to spread our organization to help and aid people in Sudan and in Egypt. And so we're looking at the moment in time in history that Christians, by and large, need to do what Christ warned us about in Matthew 25. And that is, I was hungry and you gave me food. I was naked, you clothed me. I was in prison, you visited me. The ones who don't care in this case, he looks at them and says, go depart from me, to the left side, basically.
Yeah.
So we believe that we need to aid and abet the Christians, the reverse of what Malik Obama is doing and President Obama is doing, who claims to be a Christian.
I read a report this morning in the first hour. A top Vatican official has said that around 100,000 Christians are killed every year. And he pointed to the Middle East, Africa, Asia as the biggest problem areas where these Christians are being killed. So you're absolutely right about that. We have about 2 or 3 minutes left here. I want to ask you about your opinion on the beheading of the British soldier.
Yes, I mean, it was Anjum Chowdhury. I debated who was his boss, basically, the killer's boss. He had recruited him. And this guy was recruited in Kenya, where President Obama's brother is very active there making madrasas. Anjum Chowdhury and Omar Bakri are known. I've debated them. In fact, I debated them live in Ireland, debated Anjum Chowdhury. I know this group. I've been to England several times. I've spoken to the BBC, to 150 million people began to get attacked. Great Britain is a despicable place when it comes to the Islamists given a heyday. We have to look at the history of this. It was 3 prongs from the Islamic movement, from the 60s, even the late 50s, who began to become active. In other words, the embryo of the Islamist movement was the West. Great Britain imported Hizb al-Tahrir from Palestine. It was called Palestine at that time. It's Israel, of course, we believe. And gave the ability for the Islamists to work in the West freely. It was the Arab regime, the nationalist regime, who prosecuted such organizations. They were considered illegal. Yet they were made legal and allowed to thrive in the West. This is something Westerners don't understand. Yeah. It was the West that allowed Islamists to thrive. If you notice, the Khomeinis were in France. Then they came back to Iran. Even you have in Tunisia, you had the Hizb al-Nahda. It was in London. Then all of a sudden it came back to roost in the Arab Spring. So we need to understand the Islamist Western connection in this case. And this is why we need to address the West in thwarting the Islamist movement. But we're not. We're allowing it to roam free.
I want to hold you over for one more short segment. I have another couple questions about Great Britain and the similarity as to what is happening in America. 888-7753-773. Walid Shoebat is with me, an amazing guy. Back in a moment. I want you to go, Manhood Hour is coming up in the next hour, folks. It's Wednesday. I want you to go to my friend Walid Shoebat's website, Shoebat, SHOEBAT.com, SHOEBAT.com. Just information, and it's true information. You got to wake up. Walid, I wanted to go back to the Great Britain. Did they allow the Muslims to come in thinking that if they, I don't know if they appeased these people, they got along with them, maybe the Muslims would change their opinion about them? Why is this happening so easily?
Well, we have to understand the history. There was a Palestinian involvement when Hizb ut-Tahrir basically found Great Britain. Hizb ut-Tahrir comes from the Palestinian arena. They were outlawed by the British. In fact, we know about the Mufti of Jerusalem, Hajj Amin al-Husseini, who collaborated with Hitler. That's part of that whole group in which they were allowed to thrive in Great Britain. And because there's two things, one of them is Great Britain and the West, Europe by and large, needed employment because they were basically very active in abortion, not having a lot of children per family. So the European continent began to import a lot of Muslims from the Middle East, and the Hizb ut-Tahrir, the Islamists from the Palestinian arena and others, began to find Great Britain as an embryo to raise and basically fund the Islamic movement. Saudi Arabia also was involved, in which this is where we have Abu al-Ala al-Mawdudi, a great Muslim scholar who basically influenced the Indian subcontinent. So he exported from Great Britain into India, into Pakistan, into that region.
Yeah.
And the British put the Muslims in specific designated areas in which they were never blended in. The United States have a much lesser problem because, America is a melting pot. So we still have a problem with the Islamists. We have nearly 50 to 100 attempted terror attacks. Some of them succeeded, in the United States. So if Americans look at the thwarted terror attacks by Islamists in the United States, they will begin to understand the magnitude of the problem.
Right.
But many of those are not even delegated under terrorism, like Nidal Malik Hassan, Solijman Tolovic, who opened fire, killed 5 Americans years ago. People don't even recognize the name. But it wasn't the Tsarnayevs who were the first, Chechens who acted as terrorist acts in the United States. It was the Solijman Tolovic. So if you look at the Saudis, at the immigration under President Obama in the United States, under President Bush, it was maybe 8,000 to 12,000 student visas given to Saudis. Now we have up to 100,000 Saudi students in the United States.
Wow.
This creates a huge problem. There's a case of Khalid al-Dawsari, attempted to detonate weapons of mass destruction in the U.S., attempted to kill President George W. Bush, and the Saudi government and the workings of the Saudi government trying to release terrorists is immense. In fact, how many Americans know? The majority of Saudi inmates in Guantanamo have been released. One of them became the head of Al-Qaeda in Yemen. So another became the head of Al-Qaeda in Syria. So, we have major problems in which we're playing Russian roulette.
Yeah.
And we're allowing these terrorists to be released from Guantanamo, and we're allowing the funding for terrorism, as you've seen in the case of Malik Obama, President Obama's brother, to no avail. This is a problem that is going to escalate in the future to major proportions.
We have about a minute left here. What do the people do at this point? What can be done?
Well, the problem is easily resolved. President Obama wanted to enact legislation regarding weapons. The American people stood up and thwarted this whole attempt. At the same level, we can do the same thing. We can, state that we don't want immigrants and student visas granted to countries that harbor ill intent for the United States. That will eliminate all the Saudi students. That will eliminate the majority of this immigration we have from Chechens and things of that sort. So it's at the immigration level and the university level as well.
Yeah.
So this is what Americans can do, is basically begin to ask for the implementation of legislation, to stop and thwart
Walid,
and
thank you
protect our borders.
Out of time, but thank you so much.